Shalom, everybody. This is Unplugem. Listen, I've had a few good questions asked of me by way of inbox. If you have any questions or if you want something addressed, please do give me that suggestion. And respectfully, I will do my very best to bring that to fruition if I'm so led by the Most High to deal with that issue. Almighty, I am that I am, God. My tongue, my heart, my mind to be aligned up with your will. Now, this particular teaching is very near and dear to my heart. This is the MKUltra Monarch in the Hood teaching, and I subtitled it with the G's and the freaks because that's the alpha and the beta programming, the violence programming of the alpha monarch program slave, and the sex training programming of the beta MKUltra slave. And this is just a little bit of the notes from the second page. We were almost finished with the first, but before I do that, I just want to let you guys know that yes, I will be addressing those questions in the next installments. I want to really spend every second that we have on this subject for this particular video, because this is something that is very important, and very few people talk about it. Especially very few people talk about it from the context of how it affects the black community. And most of the people that have come out and given us stories about having been Manchurians or butterflies, Project Monarch, butterfly, sex slaves, have been white women. And I have seen, in my experience, actually one of the things that has brought me to you guys, one of the reasons that I'm here and do these videos is because of the experiences that I had in the supernatural in dealing with sisters who were textbook, and when I say textbook, I mean the things that you hear Fritz or Arizona Wilder or Bryce Taylor or Kathy O'Brien tell about in their books and in their interviews. These individuals were doing these things to a T. And it was then, because I'm kind of slow sometimes, you guys, it was then that the Most High opened up my eyes and pointed it out to me that, wow, these are the very same mind control program victims that I've exposed you to, my son. And he showed me this first, of course, in those books, just through an interest that I had of the occult and the linking between the occult and the government. And at the end of the day, you got to remember that this MKUltra program is not just about brainwashing. That's a little trickery to make us think about the brain and limit this thing to an invasion of the body. It's not just a body snatcher. It's about a soul snatcher, and it's about, Lord have mercy, Jesus, it's about creating mass possession. And I maintain that through the technology or technology of the prince of the power of the air, you find this possession to be more prominent and more powerful and more dominant today than it ever has been since the very beginning of the MKUltra program being installed and instituted throughout major institutions in America and that drive American pop culture, such as the music industry. This has been a constant source of victims for the MKUltra Monarch program. But it is not exclusive to the military. It's not exclusive to the music business. There are individuals walking around who have experience in neither one. But what they will have are some other things, and like the example that I'd like to give, a cat has a certain nature, a dog has a certain nature, demons have a certain nature, and they do certain things. They fall into certain behaviors. And if you know these behaviors and can recognize these behaviors, then you can perhaps help save someone or help one of these victims become freed by, of course, the Holy Spirit. It does the work. but it works through us. So our people perish for lack of knowledge, and we should not be ignorant in a small matter, nor a great. It was disturbing to me also that not a lot of churches dealt with this side of deliverance. And the Most High threw me into this. This was not my interest whatsoever, to be a soldier who's specialized in this. Even after I decided I wanted to be a soldier for him, this was not what I thought I would be, a soldier in the PSYOPs area. Very interesting. But I do this in honor of a very beloved, well, all of the individuals that you will hear me recount stories from are beloved to me. But this particular individual, ironically, as I was making the part 1 of this MKUltra, You Give Me Butterflies Inside, and outside, you could hear the fraternal order influenced gang in the neighborhood doing their step ritual on Thanksgiving Day, which is a pagan day. As I'm doing this video, see, that was a disturbance of the spirit. But little did I know, this individual, my good friend, had been hospitalized that Wednesday before Thanksgiving Day, and I did not know it. And I was doing this largely out of love for them, out of concern for them, and with a wealth of knowledge and information I've learned from them, as being the physician that the Most High put in the lives of some of these individuals, in the honor and image of my master and teacher, Yeshua HaMashiach, my Messiah and my Savior, my Lord. You are a physician, and I am a physician, and so I like a doctor, like a lawyer, I'm not to disclose certain things. So to keep my patients, my loved ones' business out the street, and to protect their deliverance and their healing, we're going to avoid naming names and too many specifics at that. But I want you to know some indicators, some things that you can look for that may help point you to someone that you may know who has been traumatized from the time they were a child. And again, we say the word kid, and we know that a kid is a baby goat, and a goat is used in sacrifice. And they sacrifice kids still to this day to this program. Many affluent parents have offered their children up, and some parents that are not so affluent, in hopes of becoming more affluent, offer up their children to this program by way of some secret society plugged in family member or connection. Now, also you will find among them compartmentalized thinking can produce unique talents, minus what we may call common sense. So they may seem to be devoid of common sense, as you and I may say, but of course the Bible says my people are peculiar people, and this goes back to the fact that the devil don't want no junk. He wants God's chosen people, and their ways will be very peculiar compared to the ways of this world, but they will have these unique talents, and you may also find this in their siblings, because it is, again, the fact that Lucifer is attacking the most chosen and elect of bloodlines in order to find probable candidates for this monarch program. And they are all throughout the hood. They are all throughout our existence. And not only are they in the entertainment business or connected to the military. Now, in this case, the individual actually had connections to all of the above, but the root cause, we can say, was the childhood trauma. The trauma that you hear Kathy O'Brien talk about, that her father gave her through and by way of incest. Now, and again, we talked about the Nymphalidae family being where the monarch, king, butterfly comes from, and that nymph word, the nymph is a sexualized elf, and nymphomaniac is, of course, a sex maniac or sex fiend. And we know about Hulkamaniac. We heard some things about him, and I believe he was also an MKUltra mind control slave. Fire signs are often chosen, and signs whose energy is very given to emotional change, like a Leo, perhaps. So you had a Hulkamania, which was brought to us by a victim. Again, these people are victims, and the promiscuity in sex or the bisexuality often follow these victims. These demons often follow these victims. These are demons. And again, it is about a mass demon possession program, and it pumps the demon spirits by way of frequencies through your machines, what you call machinery or technology or technology. These are devices that the fallen ones gave the blueprints for, inspired man through inspiration. Can we look at that for 1 second? We got so much on MK, we've got to get through it. But man, by and large, is inspired by the spirits to create these technologies, and these technologies are used to not only communicate with the spirit realm, but to allow the spirit realm access into this physical world by way of technology or technology. That's always their goal. Their goal is always to get back into the physical realm, to cause havoc. They like how it feels, and they cannot wait to find an opening in you or in the third dimension somewhere where they can get back. So remember, the true goal is mass possession. Ephesians 2:2, the double mind. 2 and 2, right? The double. But all of the different sources, we talked about the New Age being a huge source for pumping out the energy that causes people to be possessed and fall in line with the MKUltra monarch programming. Channeling certain music, certain movies. Secret society involvement is number one. Girls that are involved with fraternal orders, such as the Eastern Star, whose symbol is a stargate or a Solomon's key, or a thing that you use to conjure up demons through, a doorway, the sacred geometry that is used to create the pentagram is not just a pretty star. The way that it's shaped, the very symbol itself, tears the fabric of time and space and opens up a dimensional porthole through which the stars of old, or sometimes called the fallen, but we know as jinn or demonic beings, through which these demonic beings can enter. Now, they need us to be able to enter. If we were on our P's and Q's, they could never get in. But we are not. So we talked about some of the things about the markings of a person who has been victimized by this. And again, these are victims, and we don't talk about them in anger or in disgust or to demonize them. These are people who are some of the very best and most generous, God-seeking and God-loving individuals. And this is one reason why they are being oppressed by Lucifer. Now, that compartmentalized thinking can produce unique talents. Also, the compartmentalized thinking can create an amnesiac sort of vibe in the individual, where they don't remember things that you would be sure that they would or should. I'm talking about from the prior day or whatever, because their memory is being hacked and hijacked by the demonic entity that Project Monarch is trying to force inside of them. So sometimes they will struggle with being able to physically remember something because the spirit that is in opposition, in direct opposition to their mind, transformation comes by a renewal of the mind. The spirit that is trying to get them to transform into something heinous or malevolent is blocking their access to certain positive remembrances and positive memories. I found that there is a aversion to love, to the basics of love, and this will push oftentimes the individual further into the realms of perversion, bisexuality and trisexuality, porn. Some would say whoredom, because when their sexuality becomes a bargaining chip for them, because they're not holding the value of their sexuality the way that another woman would. Something has happened to cause them to devalue both their sexual self-worth and their need for true love. And usually this is incestuous things that cause one's mind to open up those compartments way in the back to keep from dealing with the affront or the assault of what's really going on before their very eyes, before their young eyes, as a matter of fact. And so children are most often the ones that have exemplified using this technique of escape and protection of the mind and escape from this reality, and they create false realities and subsequently multiple personalities or dissociative identities. They call it dissociative identity disorder today, but when I was growing up, it was all about split personality, and it's the same thing. But the goal of the medical industry and psychiatry is to push you further and further away from relating this to anything spiritual. And it's totally a spiritual weapon. We're talking about not just Crowleyan sex magic as we know it, but we're also talking about voice of God weapons. Things like harp and things more heinous than harp being used to assault us spiritually. They have machinery that is used to assault us spiritually. And when we say spirits in the machine, we're not just talking about the fact that you're playing spirit-fused music out of your record machines, out of your CD machines, out of your tape machines. No, we mean that there is an actual effort by our satanic powers that be, by our captors, by those who Ephesians 6 and 12 talks about. This demonic agenda is really what's behind warfare itself. It was Azazel who taught mankind warfare. So we're talking about fallen angel technology from the very beginning, being used to wage war, being used to teach man how to fashion weapons and instruments, both instruments of war and instruments of music. All come from the fallen. And so since the very beginning, there has been this marriage of magic, the occult, and machinery and technology. It's little known, and trust me, I'm going to do a whole video on that, and we're going to go fast through that. But I'm just a little stunned, you guys, at what has happened. And I ask for prayers for my friend. You can simply say the power of prayer is very powerful, and thought energy is powerful. You can simply say that you pray for Brother Unplugem's loved ones, and especially those who are sick and hospitalized, and that will cover them. Okay, but we need to pray one for another and help to encourage one another in these days and times. Now, the witty inventions of the Prince of the Air are another way that you will commonly find people are possessed, that spirits are pushed upon people. And we're going to get in depth in that on the teaching on technology, which will come after I address after I do the video where I address some of the questions that were asked of me. And again, I thank you guys so much for encouraging one another, for encouraging me, but more importantly, for deciding to make that turn in your life toward the knowledge of the Most High, eternal, living, true and living God, and also toward trying to reform. Because like Yeshua, you will not be the run-of-the-mill person in the pew, and it's time out for that. If you want something different, you got to do something different. And as the church body of today, I commend you guys because of the different things that you're doing. You motivate me, and I love to watch documentaries and hear a young person's voice, and it does something to me as an old general out here on the field whose fighting days are coming to a close. Some of you who still have breath and strength left to fight the young man's fight, don't do things to damage that too, by the way. But some of you are doing a great work where you are, among your friends, among your peers, and I want to congratulate you for that, for that's how we fight mind control on the basic level, by being there for our loved ones and our peers, our friends, being there for counsel, being there when they need to be told that, hey, I understand, and hey, it's nothing wrong with you. It's not you. Oftentimes we'll find certain bloodlines will be picked on. People with exceptional genes. People who have exceptional individuals in their bloodline. This individual has a great black leader from Black History 101, from Civil Rights era Black History 101, in their lineage. And I maintain that the devil has been mad at that since they did what they did during the Civil Rights Movement, since they were responsible for what they were. The devil been mad since then, and now even down to the fourth generation. He's still a